Well, thank you for having me. I'm really grateful to be here among all these amazing speakers. Um, the speakers that just came before me, I'm going to add on top of them because I'm not going to repeat a lot of what they said because what they said was amazing. So what I want to explain to you is what I've been doing at the Pazio Institute and what we've called the Institute for Medical Maintenance Engineering. Today, I'm going to show you what you can do on your own without access to these elite clinics and all the money. Normally, this talk is over an hour, so I'm going to blaze through this. So be patient with me and take pictures. You can read some of this stuff later. This is the current state of medicine. We're problem focused. We wait until something happens, right? And then when you go to the doctor and you have high blood pressure, that's all they're going to treat you for is high blood pressure. They're not going to optimize the rest of your body, right? They give you a medicine, they're going to send you home, and then they're going to see you in like 3 months. So that's a terrible way. Reactive, they're going to wait for something to happen rather than try to prevent it. They're fragmented. You're going to go see a whole bunch of different doctors. You're going to see a cardiologist, you're going to see a dermatologist, you're going to see your general practitioner, and none of them are going to talk to each other, and they're not going to share notes, and they're not going to have a roundtable discussion to figure out what's best for you. And then they're going to use toxic strategies. You know, there's so many different pharmaceuticals. They're not all bad. They're not all good. They're not definitely looking at these things and making sure that, oh, wow, you know, you're on these 4 medicines from these other doctors and these together are toxic. That's not happening. It should. All right, here's the leading causes of death. Heart disease. More than 1 a minute in the United States. I couldn't get the data for China. Cancer, right underneath that. Unintentional injuries, COPD, stroke, Alzheimer's, diabetes, pneumonia, kidney disease, suicide. So that means if these are the leading causes of death, your doctor should be making sure that these things don't happen to you. Well, how are they doing that? They're not. Problem focuses the problem, right? So the US spends more money in healthcare per capita, more than 2x of any other country in the world. Yet we're 66th healthiest. So the money that we're spending doesn't make you healthier. The money that they're spending makes the people in the industry a lot of money. The pharmaceutical companies, the insurance companies, all these people, they make a lot of money off of everyone getting sick. Look at all these annual cancer diagnoses. Right, 1.7 million US, 4.8 million China, 2.7 million Europe. Most of this can be prevented. Chronic disease. And I'm not going to go through all these numbers just for time. Take a look at it. And then preventative care. It's fast growing, but look at the small percentage. Only 3% of the money going into healthcare is for preventative care in the US. At least you guys here in China are spending 5.7%. Right? Chronic disease lost because of economic productivity. Look at that. It's in the trillions. And all healthcare spendings spent on the last year of life. Look at that in the US. 25%. I have no idea what you're spending here in China. I couldn't find it. But 25% of all the money that we spend in healthcare in the US goes to somebody's last year of life. That means that we can't help them. We're spending all this money on their last year. It doesn't make their last year that much better. And it's just a ton of spending. It makes people a lot of money, but it doesn't help anybody. No disease is in isolation of any other disease. All these diseases on the left here, and then you see all the biochemical reactions on the right. And everything's related. So that means we have to make sure that all of these biochemical reactions on the right are optimized in your body. If they're not optimized, then the things on the left are going to happen. So how do we do that? In non-medical industries, where your life is on the line, every time you step onto an airplane, in aerospace, bridges, where people's lives matter, what do they use? They use these things. Engineers get involved. Are there engineers helping you become healthy? No. Do doctors know anything about engineering? No. So FMECA, failure modes, effects, and criticality. How's your body going to fail, right? What are the effects on your body? And what is the criticality? It means, if this happens, what happens to you? Well, a lot of times you die. Condition monitoring. If you don't monitor a system at regular intervals, there's no way you can optimize it. Root cause analysis. If you don't go through all the data and you don't look for it, you can't find these things called single point failures. What's a single point failure? A stroke, a heart attack, something that's going to take you right out. And maintenance scheduling. If you don't have maintenance scheduling performed, and these are algorithms, what are you going to test? When are you going to test it? What are you going to repeat? All these types of things, and then you can start to optimize a system. So this is great for machines. Maintenance engineering works great for an airplane. What about humans? Humans don't show up for appointments. Humans don't turn their tests in. Humans don't swallow their supplements and their medications. Humans cause problems. So what are we going to do about that, right? There's a compliance gap. So we help people change their behavior. We have weekly check-ins. We give them questionnaires. We give them work to do. We make things easy for them. We package their supplements. We package their medications. We time things. We give them reminders. They give them texts. Helps humans out, right? Personal maintenance engineering, right? And take this first slide because we're not going to go into the details. But this is what your system requires, and this is what you have to do. You have to make the shift, right? So you're not going to sleep perfect right away. You're not going to exercise perfect right away. One of the things that I learned from doing martial arts is you start off as a white belt because you do white belt things. And then you go to yellow belt, and then you keep going. And so it's the same thing here. You're going to learn some basics. I'm going to sleep a little bit better, and then I'm going to start sleeping great. I'm going to sleep like Dave, right? I'm going to cool my bed, and I'm going to be in bed for 8 hours. I'm going to check my Oura ring and all these types of things. Self-regulation, right? So you're all biohackers here. You don't have access to the elite clinics. This is what you're going to do. You're going to own your maintenance, right? There's no prepackaged plan. You're responsible for scheduling your own routines, right? So you're going to have to figure out, when am I going to go to bed so I don't get too little sleep? When am I going to exercise? When am I going to stop eating? We don't want to eat 4 hours before bed. So you're going to have to do this on your own, right? Your own report card. You got to check in. How are you doing? Check in with your Oura Ring. Check in with your Apple Watch. Check in with your Whoop, right? Try to get some labs done. There's a lot of labs that are available to the general public. Assess, adjust, advance. These are really important things to do. And bottom line, right? No one can put your life together. You have to do it. Self-regulation is how you're going to become a healthier human being and how you're going to extend your lifespan. These are most of the leading edge techniques that are going on right now in the elite clinics. Therapeutic plasma exchange, you've heard a lot about that. And there's places in the world you can get it cheap. Repurposed pharmaceuticals, that's like rapamycin, dasatinib, some of the other ones. You can actually get access to some of that stuff. Supplements, you can definitely get access to those. IV therapy, peptides. Peptides are easily available. Coherence training. This is online. You can get all kinds of coherence training online. You can increase your heart rate variability. You can decrease your stress. I highly recommend figuring out how to get yourself into coherence. Bioidentical hormones. Plenty of clinics are offering that. Definitely get your hormones balanced. Women get their hormones balanced, get their estrogen replaced, they add 10 years onto their lifespan. Regenerative medicine, right? You get your knee hurt, your elbow, shoulder, all types of stuff, even like Dr. Joy talking about stem cells. They're available to you. Genetic therapy, that's coming soon. It's already here, it's just very expensive. Cryonics. There's a bunch of cryonics companies, and I highly recommend looking into this because freezing the human body is real. We know how to do it. We don't know how to bring you back, but we know how to freeze it without damaging the tissue. You can buy a life insurance policy, you don't have to pay for it, and you sign your life insurance policy over to the cryonics company. So instead of getting burnt or buried or something like that, you get frozen. Maybe you come back. Maybe you don't. But if you don't get frozen, there's no way you're coming back. Ketamine psychotherapy and transcranial magnetic stim, these are game changers. People with chronic depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, trauma. This is making a game changer for them, their lives, changing their brain chemistry, allowing them freedom. Here's a complex system in fragmented medicine. See all those specialties, and they all don't talk to each other, right? So what we need to do in addition to systems testing, and you can see that, is genetics. We need to look at the senolytic associated secretory proteins. We need to look at your cognition, posture, balance, reaction time. There's so many more things that we're measuring outside of regular tests. And all of these things you can test on your own. You can look at your posture. You can check your balance. You can look at these things. And cognition, there's tests for you available online. One of them is called the CNS Vital Signs. It's cheap. It's like $30. And you can test, where's my memory at? What's going on? How fast is my reaction time? Get a baseline. Leveraging AI. Definitely use AI. It's such a great tool, right? Here's two things that AI is doing really well. Clearly is a test where you do a CCTA of your heart and you upload the data into this AI. And it will tell you what is your risk of having a heart attack because it can look at soft plaques, hard plaques. It can see if you're having ischemia to your heart. So you know exactly what's going on. There's no guesswork. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna go on a stress test and I'm gonna see how I do, because that's not gonna tell you exactly what the plaques are like in your heart. And a full body MRI, wow, you can pick up so many things. You can pick up early cancer, you can pick up aneurysms, you can pick up all kinds of stuff. And the prices for these things are dropping every day. And they're becoming more and more available to lay people. What are you going to measure? How will you analyze it? You need to schedule it out. This is your self-regulation. Make sure you take a picture of the slide, get it all done, do what Dave told you to do. All those basic things to make your lifestyle better are going to make you live longer and healthier. And what we really want is we want you to be able to live our life so that when we're old, we're capable and we don't become decrepit. The average person's decrepit for 10 years before they die. And they're in a nursing home, or they can't walk, or they're mentally demented. Something's going on where they're not living a quality life. One of the things that we know about really taking care of yourself and exercising and eating well and sleeping well and managing your stress is that you can reduce that 10 years down to 1 year. So you can live, and that gives you almost 10 more years of life without living longer. Wearables, they're here, they're good. Use them. Get an Oura Ring, get an Apple Watch, get a Whoop. I don't care which one you get it, follow the data. See what you're doing. Right? Notice what happens, when you've had a stressful day. Notice what happens when you fly in an airplane. Notice what happens when you got 4 hours of sleep. And track it. It's so easy and they're really inexpensive. We use these in the clinic. It's how I can keep track of patients and what they're doing. Okay, here's your strategies, right? Fasting. We know fasting works. The best fasting is not to eat 4 hours before bed. We used to do a lot of water fasting in the clinic. Now we do fasting mimicking diets. You can look up a company called Prolon. Walter Longo did all the data for this. We do a Prolon fasting mimicking diet once a quarter, so 4 times a year. I highly recommend doing that. It's cheap. It's cheaper to do a fasting mimicking diet for 5 days than to pay for food for 5 days. Diet changes. Is that my 5 minute or my 1 minute? Thank you. Diet changes. I like plant-based diets. And the reason I like plant-based diets, one, they're lower in toxins. Two, they're ethical and they're better for the environment. But for longevity, they're low in methionine, they're low in leucine, and they're usually fairly low in protein. And I know that you always hear everyone talking about high protein, high protein, high protein. Go look in the literature. Low protein diets almost always extend lifespan. they haven't really shown a lot of data where high protein diets extend lifespan. The way I kind of look at it is, and Aubrey de Grey talks about this a lot, metabolism is what's driving aging. If you have a lot of protein in your diet, you're jacking up your metabolism, right? So it's like a candle. If you burn a candle at both ends, it's going to burn really bright. So you can burn really bright for a short period of time, or you can have a nice consistent flame for your whole life. You pick, right? Just look at the bodybuilders, right? Bodybuilders, they look great and they're super powerful, but they don't have great life expectancy. Exercise. You don't have to do a ton. You really don't. Weight lift twice a week. Do compound movements. You only have to do like 5 lifts, right? And then sprint. Sprinting is incredible what it does to the body. Now, if you haven't done a 100-yard sprint, don't go do it tomorrow. You're gonna like pull your hamstring, right? Start with skipping and build up to it. You'll find that sprinting changes your life. It releases all these neurotransmitters. You feel fantastic and you develop power. Your mitochondria will love it and you'll feel it with the extra energy. Spiritual practices. This is probably the most important. People with a powerful spirit can handle anything, right? And you can just tell, like people with a weak spirit, like the smallest thing sets them off and their emotions take them over and they can't stay present. You have to build a powerful spirit. How you do that's up to you. There's so many spiritual practices out there. Pick one that works for you and make sure that you practice it and then test yourself. Like, okay, when that person said something to me, did it bother me for the whole day? Or was I able to brush it off? You know, if I have something hard happen to me, like a breakup or I lose a job or something, like, am I devastated or am I able to pick myself back up? People with a powerful spirit live a long time. So you have to build one. Sleep. This is a game changer. If you don't sleep well, there's no way you're not going to age well. You have to sleep, and you can monitor it now. There's so many at-home monitoring sleep. And you basically want to have a cold room, and really what I like this thing called the bed jet because it blows air underneath your sheets. You can be in a room that's 60 degrees, and if you have a huge down comforter on, it's not 60 degrees under the down comforter. It's like 90. If you're blowing air that's room air underneath your sheets, you're evaporating all your sweat and you stay cold the whole night, and it's only a few $100s. I find that it works fantastic. Breathing, please do breathing exercises. Check your heart rate variability. The Oura Ring does it, the Apple Watch does it. There's so many things that do it. That's a way that you can get into coherence. The yogis, they always breathe. Right? In Shaolin Kung Fu, we breathe. It's there. It's been there for thousands of years. It wouldn't be there if it wasn't important. Hot and cold exposure. I like both of them. Heat's more important. Find a good infrared sauna. I like High Tech Health. They have some of the best saunas out there. Thank you for the 1 minute. When you expose yourself to heat, you create heat shock proteins. They help your proteins fold. Your proteins don't fold well when you're older, and it also helps you detox. Just take a picture of that. We're going to blaze through this because we got no time. Bioidentical hormones. Get your hormones replaced. This is super important. Adds years to your life. Find a good functional medicine doc. Get your hormones. All right, vitamin D, fish oil, omega-3s, most important. I know that you guys heard some things about vitamin D. Vitamin D is a sequesteroid hormone. I did a ton of research on this when I was younger. I have a 1-hour talk just on vitamin D. In the wild, animals have super high levels of vitamin D, greater than 100 for us. Indigenous people that live outside naked in the sun have super high vitamin D levels. Why shouldn't we? It doesn't make any sense to why we shouldn't just replicate what happens in nature. It's super important. And just omega-3s in general will add 5 years to your life. There's tons of other supplements, but here's the other ones that are going out, the other pharmaceuticals, rapamycin, metformin, dasatinib, and statins, right? And statins aren't all equal. Please use a water-soluble one unless you have a specific need for a different one, because they don't raise your liver enzymes. And they also are water-soluble, they're not lipophilic. Can I just get 1 minute? You want to build a resilient body, right? So strength, posture, isometric training, and mind-body. Labs, imaging, sleep studies, get those done. Here's the standard preventative stuff. Make sure you go to your doctors and get checked out, right? Always go to the dermatologist once a year. Always go to the eye doctor once a year. Get your colonoscopy, get your mammogram, get your pap smear, get a transvaginal ultrasound. Make sure you keep your teeth clean and up to date. Your mouth microbiome is super important. This is all the psychological health. Please take a picture of that and maintain your psychological health. Without that, you can't do anything.
Thank you. Thank you for the sharing and very practical. 因为时间的关系，所以我们只有一个提问的一个机会啊。Any questions?
Hi, thank you for the talk. It's amazing, first of all. And I saw from those slides that there's like dasatinib
Yes.
that you prescribe to your patients.
Yes.
Like, do you prescribe it with quercetin? And also, what makes the decision to prescribe something like this, a senolytic?
So we'll use senolytics on patients over 40 years old. I don't prescribe it under 40 years old. The way that we're doing it in the clinic is when someone does a fasting mimicking diet, about 3 days into a fasting mimicking diet or a water fasting diet, your body starts to go into autophagy. What we do is we use the dasatinib at the time of autophagy kicking in to increase the kill rate of the senolytic cells. And we are doing it with quercetin, fisetin, and thioflavins all at the same time. And you're not going to feel well when you do that. You might have a headache, but that's just the result of the medicine killing off some of these cells. And then after the fast is over, there's going to be a great release of your own stem cells. And that's when you want to feed those stem cells and cultivate them. So what we found in the clinic is that instead of going on calorie restriction or going on a high protein diet, we do about 8 weeks of low calorie, low protein. The end of that 8 week is where we end it with a fasting mimicking diet and the dasatinib. And then for the next 5 weeks, you go on a higher protein diet, higher calorie diet, hit the weights a little bit harder, build some muscle on, and then repeat. And we found that this works a lot better than steady state low calorie or steady state high protein.